Hello and welcome once again to the Growth Mindset Collective here with Nikki Hall. Hi, Nikki. How are you today?
Hello, Ava. I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well and I'm loving this time of the year, the summer days, the beautiful weather. How's the weather where you are?
It's perfect.
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 Woo, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
So
gotta love this weather because, soon it'll be changing. So gotta love it, embrace it, and yeah,
we already hit the longest day of the year, so we are getting shorter days.
Yeah, I know. Well, let's enjoy what we can right now. So, today
Absolutely.
we're gonna dive into are you playing the game or just following the rules of Monopoly? So the system was never broken, it was just maybe built this way. That's one of the quotes here. It's anonymous, so I can't tell you who wrote it, but let's jump into it. Nikki will share some of her wisdom here with us, and of course, I'll give my 2 cents here and there, but let's dive into the Monopoly game here.
Okay, so what I'm going to do is just thanks, Ava.
You're
I'm just
welcome.
going to take a little bit of one of my master classes that's designed to allow you to quickly assess and reassess your mindset for greater productivity, um, goal achieving, and well-being. So the first thing that I want to get you to do is acknowledge your current state, as in check yourself, check in, see how you're feeling right now. Ava and I were in a class in a coaching program, and some lady was going on, and I think our instructor thought, well, we're going to have to do something about her. So to get her to clue in and to get her in the group, because she just wasn't getting there. And check yourself and check how you're feeling right now. She had the lady do a 3-day journal of all her thoughts. I remember that. I thought, oh, I'm not talking during this one. But then I thought, what a great thing to do. I mean, 3 days is hard, but even if you can take an hour of your time and say, I'm going to be dedicated to writing what I hear myself thinking, mentally or emotionally, and being honest with yourself without judgment, that can go a long way. Like that's a highly instrumental tool, and also identify your energy levels because almost everything we're talking about is frequency, vibration, attraction. And you're getting your results by the energy you're feeling. If it's drained, anxious, calm, if it's happy or joyful or praiseful, the results you're going to get by the feeling you're feeling. Again, Ava and I were in another program with Bob Proctor, and he's always saying, and he says it so firmly. He says, well, if you want to know how you're doing, just look at your results, and that'll tell you how you're thinking and feeling and what you're doing. And it's like, ugh, I don't want to.
Yeah.
Darn it, that's too real for me. And the other part about acknowledging your current state is note and be aware of your dominant thoughts. Now, dominant thoughts could be tricky there because you're thinking what's out in the forefront and the loudest and most redundant. But sometimes it's the calm voice that was your mother, your grandmother, an influence from way back that sits quietly and just causes a restart all the time. And it causes that casual you're not good enough. You're supposed to behave like this. This is how we do it just because. Sometimes it's the small, silent, quiet points that cause a reset in you that is most dangerous to your goaling. So try and acknowledge that. And the next section I want to talk to you about is pinpointing your mindset blockers. like your limited beliefs, your negative self-talk, external influences, unresolved issues. Ava, you do an excellent class on this with your self-image and negative self-talk.
Yeah. And I kind of want to go back a little bit to this whole thing you were saying about mindset and everything. Sometimes we don't even realize we are negative or thinking certain things because we've been so much on autopilot that for us it seems natural. But sometimes people pick up on it. It's like, oh, that person's always so negative. But when you hear it's like, me negative? No. And it's like, but when you actually stop and think about it, it's like there was moments I remember when I first dived into Bob Proctor's coaching program. Yeah, there was moments, and I've mentioned that before in other videos. It was a brutal awakening at some level because I'm like, huh, I do have things lingering. And it wasn't so much to criticize myself, but it was a great awareness. And you know how you're talking about the 3 days for journaling? Sometimes you gotta really sit down, be upfront with yourself. Nobody's judging you, and don't
Mhm.
judge yourself, but you have to be aware of those things that are going on. You stop and it's like, huh, I have been maybe negative in this situation. I mean, we don't always are negative in everything. There's certain things we might look upon. It's like, well, I was told that, so therefore I feel this way, and it just keeps spiraling, and it becomes autopilot, right?
Mhm.
So it's good to identify these patterns. And Tony Robbins talks about this identification of patterns in your life, and other great teachers as well. So it's good to actually sit down, look at your life. And what I do is I go through a circle because I like balance in life, because it is good. Like sometimes we are very good at our jobs and everything we do in that area, but then at home it's a complete chaos, or the opposite, right? So I like to be more, okay, how are my levels going in the relationships? How is my success? And where can I improve? So I did that whole thing myself too. Okay, on this level I like to improve a little bit more, and on this level I like to go a little bit farther. And I actually did the whole circle, and then went back maybe a couple years later, and things have improved. But that's because I was aware that I wanted to do this work, that I wanted to take the extra step and making it better. So, I mean, you can go a lot of different ways here, but I believe it's very important to reflect, to sit down, really look at yourself, especially when you are wanting more out of life. And I know a lot of us do. We keep searching for things, whether it's love, whether it's jobs or something like that. But sometimes you really need that quiet time, sit down, look within and work, because it's not out there. It's all within us. Right, Nikki?
Absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes I don't like saying it because it's so true and it's so wow that, we have unresolved issues that don't only exist like from now and last week or just recently. We've got it from years or even decades that
Yes.
we have to take the lid off that and see what the heck that is and take care of that business.
Yeah. And sometimes I even realized that too while I was sitting down and working on stuff. I was like, wow, this really stems from this far ago. And that one thing was actually from 3 decades ago. And I hate
Yes,
to quote
exactly.
those because it's kind of giving away my age, but who cares? Uh, but it was so true, like I was like, this really took that much time for me to realize it. And there was something
Yeah.
else I was working on. I was like, oh wow, I was carrying this within me for so long. Finally, I was able to actually see it because I took it from a different angle and
Hmm.
things like that.
Yeah.
So it is absolutely true. Like things sometimes don't just happen like a week or two ago. Sometimes they're from decades ago or
Yeah. Yeah.
whatever, right? So
Exactly. So when you get there, you want to reframe and realign. So you want to set new boundaries and you want to set a focus on what you can control. And that's a tricky part too, because sometimes it's not something we can control yet, because of the environment we're in. So we have to look at it, set our boundaries, and set goals um, if we can't focus on controlling the energy or whatever it is that's imposing on us. So after we go there, we want to start to cultivate a positive focus. Gratitude is the fastest way to get there. Stating your small wins or acknowledging small wins. I have a girlfriend who calls herself OCD and all sorts of other things. And she gives herself a license to be negative or not validate herself in her wins. It, be careful what you hide behind because there's a lot of wins that you get. There's miracles happening every single day. Tune into them, enjoy them, and grow with them. And look at your future vision. Do that in a brief, like microsecond. Like if we were to say to you, let's imagine New York, and in a microsecond you're there, So you want to look at a future vision and you want to look at it as a positive outcome you'd like to create today or this week. And just do a real quick visualization of it and that'll be a little kickstart to a better restart from an old button that might be trying to get you going again. And the last part of this session that I want to mention is commit to action and reinforcement. One is take an actionable step. That is so important. We say that all the time, and all the things we do have a call to action to it, yet how many of us actually take an actionable step? Get into mindset affirmation. Now, I was reading and studying about this weekend, and this was very interesting because they said if you can't go into a conscientious state of being, like what they would call the fourth dimension, then give yourself a quick affirmation step that is only 3 words long. I am capable. I am resilient. I choose peace. I choose clarity. 3 words, whatever it is. I am happy. I am whatever. But 3 words will do it and it'll get you there in a step. So think about that and keep it, just keep it easy and simple for
Hmm.
yourself.
Yeah.
The next thing is future check-in plan. This when you can, give yourself a brief check-in and check your mindset again today or tomorrow, as in at the end of the workday or tomorrow morning, and tell yourself, I did okay today, or I did okay today, or else you wake up and say, I'm going to do better tomorrow to this morning than I did yesterday, and just get some good energy going for yourself and release and move forward. Take a deep breath and consciously release any remaining mental clutter. I'm just going to say crap. And right, suits
Right.
me much better. And you're doing the work, you're taking the action. Now just start reframing your mindset and start gaining that goal.
Yeah, and one thing that comes to mind here is the gym. Um, if you don't go to the gym, you don't start working out, you're not really gonna see the results. And I know going to the gym, it's more physical because, your body's getting stronger, but it's the same with your mindset. If you don't practice what's up there, it's just gonna be mushy sometimes. It gets mushy for me sometimes. Um,
Yeah,
and then
you're lucky if
so
it's
it's the same
mushy.
thing as going to the gym. You gotta practice, and there's like 101 tools out there. I was talking to one of in the Millennium program that I have the study group. We are talking, it's like, yeah, if we don't practice it, how can we expect anything? Like you gotta put in the effort, you gotta and if it helps you to set up the watch to remind you to whatever you go working on, I told one of my students that set your watch every hour if you can. Because maybe you can write down because you're at work, but if the watch goes cling, hey, it's like, hey, what am I thinking? Have I
I've
thought
done
about my
that.
goal lately? And she's like, hey,
Mhm.
that's great. I said, yeah, use any tool that helps you. If you can sit down and write. If you can't, use a watch. If you can't do that, at least do something else. There's always something you can do to help yourself to either realign, reassess the situation or thing. It's like, hey, where was my thoughts the last hour? Was I on autopilot again, like I have been for the last few years or days? Or am I actually slowly changing my mindset? Is it working? And if it's not working, maybe you need more time or you need a different tool. And like Nikki was saying, sometimes all it is three powerful words. For some people, they'll be like, well, I've been saying, affirmations until I'm blue in the face. Well, maybe that's not your thing.
Yeah.
You gotta maybe try journaling. Maybe you're somebody who really expresses through journaling. And I know for some people that works like magic. For others,
Mhm.
maybe they don't have time, so they'll sit there. I have a friend that's actually on the book club, and she was telling me, it's like, you know what? I remember to this day, I went for a coffee shop. I went to a coffee and I sat there and I had my coffee and it was the best damn coffee I've ever had. She's like, really? She's like, yeah, it was all in my imagination, but it felt so real. I said, "Oh wow, that's amazing." So that's all it took for, and she's like, "I remember that." I said, "Now practice that with something else, something you really want to achieve. If that coffee felt so good and so real,
Yeah.
use it towards something else. Now you shift, you play it the way you want it, and that's how you make it happen.
Mhm.
Like I went from journaling to and doing certain things to now I just think about it. It happens like this sometimes. Other
Yeah.
things might take more time, but that's where I want to master something else now. It's like, okay, I want to go from this level to that. It's just like going to the gym. You want to build that muscle, you have to keep going, you have to keep practicing, you have to keep doing. Same with eating healthy. You're not just gonna eat once and expect miracles. You
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah.
keep at it. It's the same process, just on a different thing you want to accomplish, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, you change your tools, right? Don't be afraid.
Yeah, and there's so many tools in the toolbox there.
There really is. Like
There
when we
is, yeah.
teach, like when Ava's teaching her millionaire program, I bet you in the first third, she's got to give you at least 20 tools that you can use. She's not expecting you to use all 20. She's expecting you to say, oh, that's good. I'm going to try that one.
Yeah, because sometimes you get overwhelmed. I know some people, they jump into something, they're like, oh, I'm really excited. And then they get overwhelmed because it's too much. Don't do that. Take one or two things, see if it's working for you. If it is, keep going
Mhm.
with it. Once you master that, move to the next thing and the next thing. And that's what a lot of people, great minds out there say, you know, build it. If you can go from here to here, do the small steps, but be consistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, an oak tree goes from step to step and it stays steady for a long time. Just choose what's best for your character.
Yes. So, these are definitely great tools. Anything else you have for us, Nikki? I always love hearing you.
Huh? No, I have given you everything in a very abbreviated manner.
Awesome. We love that.
Yes.
Well, so yeah, success isn't just about working harder. It's about understanding the system, shifting your mindset, and reclaiming your power. So hopefully this session helped you in some way. If you love to reach out to us and talk to us more, we are here for you. So just send us a message. All the contacts are always in this video, how to get in touch with us. So I
Mhm.
hope you guys enjoyed this session of the Growth Mindset Collective, and we'll see you guys soon again. Thank you, Nikki, once again for your brilliance, and see you next time, guys.
Thanks, Ava.
You're welcome.